Welcome, curious minds, to Alternatify, the channel where we peel back the layers of history to explore the tantalizing what-ifs. Today, we confront a shadow that looms large over the 20th century, a name synonymous with catastrophe. We ask a question that echoes with both dread and hope. What if Chernobyl never happened? This isn't merely about avoiding a single, horrific tragedy. This is about tracing the intricate threads of cause and effect, understanding how one pivotal moment can send ripples across the entire fabric of our reality. We'll delve into the profound cascade of changes that might have unfolded. Imagine a world where energy policies took a different turn, where geopolitical landscapes were reshaped, and where humanity's very approach to its future was fundamentally altered. Join us as we journey into this compelling alternate history. To truly grasp the magnitude of a world without Chernobyl, we must first understand the devastating reality of what did occur. It was April 26, 1986, a date etched into the collective memory of humanity. A perfect storm of human error, a fundamentally flawed reactor design, and a pervasive culture of Soviet secrecy converged. The RBMK reactor, Unit 4, at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was undergoing a routine safety test. A sudden, uncontrolled power surge led to two massive explosions, tearing through the reactor building. The graphite moderator ignited, sending a plume of highly radioactive material high into the atmosphere. The fire burned for days, spewing invisible poisons across vast swathes of Europe. Heroic firefighters, unaware of the true danger, battled the inferno, sacrificing their lives. The liquidators who followed faced unimaginable risks, containing the spread of radiation. The immediate human cost was staggering. Pripyat, a vibrant city of nearly 50,000, was evacuated, becoming a ghost town overnight. Surrounding villages suffered the same fate. Thousands were exposed to lethal doses of radiation. The long-term consequences continue to unfold. Cancers, genetic mutations, and debilitating illnesses became a grim legacy for countless individuals. The psychological trauma of displacement and fear of the invisible enemy scarred generations. The Soviet Union initially downplayed the disaster, attempting to conceal its true scale. But the radioactive cloud, detected across Scandinavia, forced their hand. The truth emerged, shattering the myth of Soviet technological superiority. It exposed the vulnerabilities of a system built on secrecy and control. Chernobyl triggered a global reassessment of nuclear power. Nations like Germany and Italy began phasing out their nuclear programs. France, heavily reliant on nuclear energy, significantly increased its safety protocols. The disaster became a potent symbol. It represented the inherent dangers of nuclear technology when mishandled. It stood as a stark reminder of the price of hubris and negligence. Chernobyl forced the world to confront the profound responsibility that comes with harnessing such immense power. Now, let us step through the looking glass into a world where that fateful night never happened. Imagine the silence where the explosions once roared, the clear skies where the radioactive plume never rose. How would this single absence reshape our shared destiny? Without Chernobyl, the public's fear of nuclear power might never have reached such a fever pitch. The sustained boom in nuclear energy, which began in the mid-20th century, could have continued unabated. People would remain more receptive to new designs, like small modular reactors or advanced Generation 4 reactors. The potential benefits of this increased nuclear reliance are compelling. A world less dependent on fossil fuels would emerge, significantly mitigating the looming threat of climate change. Carbon emissions would be substantially lower, leading to cleaner air and a healthier planet. Nations would enjoy greater energy independence, reducing geopolitical tensions over oil and gas supplies. Technological advancements in reactor design, fuel efficiency, and waste management would accelerate. With fewer public protests and less regulatory backlash, innovation could flourish. Nuclear power might have become the dominant energy source, ushering in an era of abundant, clean electricity. However, this path is not without its own shadows. The inherent risk of accidents, even with safer designs, would persist. The challenge of nuclear waste disposal, though potentially improved by advanced tech, would remain a complex problem. A world with more nuclear power plants also means a world with more fissile material. This could increase the risk of nuclear weapons proliferation, as more nations gain access to the necessary technology and materials. Public opposition, though less pronounced, might still simmer, fueled by concerns over safety and waste. Furthermore, the urgency to develop renewable energy sources like solar and wind might have been significantly diminished. Without the stark warning of Chernobyl, investment in these alternatives could have been slower. The pressure to diversify our energy portfolio might not have been as intense. We might find ourselves in a world powered predominantly by nuclear fission, with renewables playing a much smaller role. Chernobyl profoundly impacted the Soviet Union's international standing. Without the disaster, the USSR's image as a competent and reliable superpower might have remained intact for longer. The cracks in its facade, exposed by its handling of the crisis, would not have appeared so soon. This could have prolonged the Cold War, making the Soviet collapse less certain, or at least delaying it. A stronger, more confident Soviet Union might have maintained its grip on Eastern Europe for additional years. The arms race, already a terrifying reality, could have accelerated further. With less pressure to divert resources to disaster recovery, both superpowers might have invested more heavily in developing new weapons. This would increase the already terrifying risk of nuclear conflict. The global environmental movement, which gained significant momentum in the wake of Chernobyl, might have been less influential. The anti-nuclear movement, a powerful force for change, would lack its most potent symbol. Focus on environmental protection might have been less pronounced, delaying crucial conversations about pollution and sustainability. Soviet-West relations, which saw some cooperation on arms control and environmental issues after Chernobyl, might have remained colder. The shared threat of nuclear fallout, which briefly united adversaries, would be absent. This could have led to less dialogue and greater mistrust between the two blocs. The geopolitical landscape would be subtly, yet significantly different. The absence of Chernobyl would undoubtedly alter the trajectory of technological development. In nuclear technology, the pressure to address safety concerns would be less immediate. This could lead to accelerated development of new reactor designs, unburdened by the intense scrutiny that followed the disaster. Innovation might have focused more on efficiency and power output, rather than solely on safety. Conversely, the development of radiation detection and monitoring technologies might have been slower. Chernobyl provided a grim impetus for advancements in these fields. Without the widespread contamination, the urgent need for sophisticated detection equipment would be diminished. Similarly, medical technologies related to radiation effects on human health might have seen less extensive research. The disaster spurred significant studies into cancer treatments, genetic damage, and long-term health impacts. Without this tragic catalyst, medical science might have focused its resources elsewhere. The very nature of our scientific priorities would be subtly shifted. Consider the profound societal impacts of a world untouched by Chernobyl. Public trust in government and authority regarding nuclear technology would likely be much greater. The deep-seated skepticism that emerged after the disaster, fueled by official secrecy and downplaying, would be absent. People might view nuclear power as a clean, safe, and reliable energy source, rather than a potential harbinger of doom. Environmental awareness, particularly concerning the dangers of pollution and the need for environmental protection, might be less pronounced. Chernobyl served as a stark, undeniable lesson in the interconnectedness of our planet and the fragility of its ecosystems. Without that lesson, the urgency for environmental activism might not have been as keenly felt. Social movements related to nuclear issues, such as anti-nuclear protests and environmental advocacy groups, would be less influential. Their rallying cry, the vivid imagery of a poisoned landscape, would be missing. The collective consciousness would be free from the pervasive fear of invisible radiation. This might foster a greater sense of security, but perhaps also a degree of complacency regarding technological risks. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of this alternate reality is the absence of human suffering. Thousands of lives would have been saved, spared from the agonizing effects of radiation sickness and long-term cancers. Countless illnesses would have been avoided, freeing individuals from debilitating conditions. Families would have remained intact, their homes not abandoned to the silent threat of radiation. The vibrant city of Pripyat would still be bustling with life, its schools filled with children, its streets alive with laughter. Imagine the realized potential of those lives. Children who grew up in the shadow of Chernobyl, or never grew up at all, would have fulfilled their dreams. Scientists, artists, teachers, and laborers would have made their unique contributions to society. The human cost of progress in this alternate timeline would be significantly lower. Of course, a world without Chernobyl would not be a utopia. Global challenges like climate change, resource depletion, and geopolitical conflicts would still persist, but the absence of this one monumental disaster would provide a better starting point. It would offer a foundation built on less trauma, less fear, and more trust. It would be a world where humanity could focus its collective energy on building a more sustainable and equitable future, unburdened by the ghost of a nuclear catastrophe. The beauty and terror of alternate history lie in the butterfly effect, the interconnectedness of all things. The ripples from Chernobyl's absence would extend far beyond the immediate impacts we've discussed. Consider the political landscape of Eastern Europe. Would the Soviet Union's collapse have occurred at the same time, or in the same manner without the economic strain and loss of legitimacy caused by the disaster? The timing and nature of these monumental shifts could be profoundly different. Even something as seemingly unrelated as the development of the internet could be affected. Chernobyl highlighted the critical need for rapid, decentralized communication in a crisis. This spurred investment in technologies that could bypass traditional state-controlled media. Without that impetus, the internet's widespread adoption and development might have proceeded at a slower pace. Every event, every decision, every absence creates a cascade of intended and unintended consequences. This thought experiment reinforces the profound truth that everything is connected. The world we inhabit is a complex tapestry woven from countless threads of history. So we've journeyed through an alternate world, one where the Chernobyl disaster never cast its long shadow. We've seen a different energy policy, altered geopolitical landscapes, and a subtly shifted approach to our future. It's a world of both promise and peril, a testament to the intricate dance of cause and effect. Would a world without Chernobyl truly be a better place? It certainly wouldn't solve all global problems, but it would offer a better starting point. A world less scarred by fear, less burdened by a catastrophic mistake, might be better equipped to build a more sustainable and equitable future. What are your thoughts? Would a world without Chernobyl be a better place? What other historical events would you like us to explore on Alternatify? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the what if, please give this video a like. Subscribe to Alternatify for more thought-provoking explorations and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into history's hidden paths. Your engagement helps us continue these fascinating discussions.